So this video is how I built my kayak rack with a crow's nest Playfort up top. I really liked how it turned out. This part 1 is just going to be the kayak rack, so if that's all you want, this is the video for you. And part 2 will be how I built the crow's nest. Anyway, it took a lot longer than I thought. I thought I was going to get done in a weekend. It took like 3 weeks off and on. So I started with 4 4x4s. These are 10-foot long. If you're only going to do the kayak rack, you probably only need 8-foot long ones. I marked where they're going to have ground contact and sprayed them with some sealant. Okay, so here's all the materials. I got my fast-setting concrete, no mix required for posts. And so I got my stakes to help level the post. I got my post level. Got my drill to set some screws into those stakes. A knife to cut open the bag of concrete. Got some gravel to put underneath for drainage. Tape measure. Got my post digger, and I don't know what that's called. But yeah, I'm gonna make 4 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Already made this 4th one. Thinking to go about 2 to 2.5 feet deep. Really, the bag, the recommendation is to go 1/3 of the length, and I have 10-foot lengths. I also got a 5-gallon bucket. But anyway, I'm going a little less because there's going to be 4 of them. It's not exactly a fence post. These are going to be attached, so it's going to be a strong platform. You're also supposed to go like 3 times the width, so it's supposed to go 12 inches. This is much shorter than 12 inches. I just didn't want to use as much concrete because I felt like I didn't need to with 4 that are all interconnected. It's going to be a very stable base. So I don't think it's going anywhere. One other thing I wanted to mention, you want to go for like not a straight tube, you want to go for like a dome down. So I marked the location of all 4 posts and I started digging the first hole. And this was going to stabilize all the other posts, so that's why I did the whole thing just for this one hole first. I made sure it was the right depth I wanted. Then I put some pea gravel for drainage underneath the concrete post. So there it is with the pea gravel. Then I used a post level to make sure it was kind of adequately straight, and then poured some water, and then followed the directions on the bag. Poured water and then put the powder in, and then I just used the 4x4 to kind of mix it around. And then I made some more concrete in a bucket because I wanted to put to slope all the concrete on the top so it wouldn't puddle around the base of the wood and then rot away slowly. So that's why I'm using that putty knife there to shape the concrete away from the wood. So yeah, that's just for longevity. I want this thing to last a long time. So that's just me shaping it there. Yeah, and then I used stakes and some bracing. So I put down these stakes and then braced the post to make it perfectly level. Just screwed it temporarily to the 4x4 and used the post level just to make sure that everything was true. And then I left it like that for a day, and then after that I started working on the 4 posts. So you can see it's all level. So the posts I made 32 inches away from each other, and that's just because like the widest kayak I had was I think 30.5 inches. So I just... Okay, so we're back 2 days later. Seems like the post set pretty well. And I'm just measuring out for the 3 other posts. So everything's still level. That's good. Concrete looks good. It's all going away from the post. So that's good. The kayak should fit in between. You want to go on a swing? We'll go on a swing in a little bit, okay? Just a little bit. Okay, here we go with digging time. Yeah, so I'm looking back at this footage and I think I'm realizing why it took 3 weekends rather than just 1. I think I was just taking care of all the kids and all the constant interruptions. You can see me swinging the kids. I actually built that swing too. That's another video you can check out, a tree swing. And I made it so you can actually jump into the lake. That took actually probably the most engineering I've done in a long time. Anyway, you can see as I'm digging with the post hole digger, I'm using the Sawzall to cut any roots. That's a great tip, especially if you have to remove like stumps or anything like that. Using the Sawzall to do it really accelerates things. Okay, so we got all 4 holes dug. I brought over the 4x4s. I'm getting ready to put them on the ground next to this one. 1, 2, 3. I think I'm gonna have to brace these 2, but once those are set, I think I'm gonna pour that one and just brace it to each other. Okay, so here's the plan. I don't know if you can read this, but I'm gonna mark the posts from 2 inches from the ground, then put my 2x6, and then 20-inch gaps from there on for the 3 different posts. I want them all to be level, so I'm going to use my laser level here to mark them all right at that 2-inch mark, and that's where I'm going to put this 2x6 beam. So here we go. Yeah, using a laser level for this is really ideal if you have one. It really makes things a lot easier. Everything's on the same level, and you can do all 4 posts at the same exact time. And then using a square just to describe it all. I marked out the distances, 20 inches between each 2x6. So you have to add in, the distance of the 2x6. And then I marked the halfway point of the 2x6 and where they would drill onto the 32-inch space 4x4s. And then I did a through hole for the carriage bolt that I was going to screw into place. And so I did that for all the 2x6s that were going to be used as racks. Yeah, it definitely helps to have a drill press too. I also printed out this this guide, so it's either could work for a 4x4 or 6x6, and I just used it because I wanted to make a screw template. And I use this over and over again actually during this whole kayak build, but just helped me place the different holes in the same exact pattern, and made sure I wasn't going to intersect screws in different locations as I was building, because there's a lot of intersecting screws, so I just didn't want to hit each other. So the pattern just helped quickly make things work out. I also drilled clearance holes for those screws too. Honestly, I think the carriage bolt probably would have been enough, but just to be extra secure, I used decking screws, and that's what I was putting these clearance holes for. Yeah, so lots of drilling, lots of prep work. Honestly, if you weren't as particular as I am as an engineer, you probably don't need all these clearance holes. But yeah, I like to be thorough and don't want splitting wood, so that's why I did that. I also put angles on all the ends of the 2x6s to help offloading and onloading onto the racks. They do help, but having just an 8-foot 2x6, I did feel like I was cutting it a little close for those end spans, especially on the wider kayaks. It all works, everything seemed to work fine, but it's like right on the edge for some of the kayaks. So something to consider. Maybe get 10-foot 2x6 instead of 8-foot if you really don't want to worry about it. I think it's fine what I ended up doing. So using a hand drill, I drilled a little bit of for that carriage bolt into the 4x4 too, and then I just used the ratchet to screw it into place. But yeah, that thing's not going anywhere. Did I use a washer? I don't remember, but probably using a washer. And all my all the tools or all the hardware I used was either stainless or zinc coated, so it wouldn't rust in the rain. But yeah, so use the carriage bolt and then the 4 deck screws. This thing definitely is not going anywhere. Yeah, having a set of these clamps is such a lifesaver, just to hold things in place, and then using that level just to make sure everything's right where you want it. Yeah, and having 2 levels also works really nicely to make sure that they're level with each other too. Again, as an engineer, I'm very particular about these kind of things. Probably doesn't matter so much for a kayak rack, but yeah, made sure that the kayak actually fit in the middle there. And here I am, just building it up. So yeah, actually, probably a weekend you could just do this kayak portion. Okay, so it's time to start screwing off these 4. So it took me a while to get a right drill bit because they don't really sell the right length. Mine were too short. I couldn't get that full shank length. I'm gonna just drill through those clearance holes I did right into the wood, and then just take my second. It's great to have 2. So yeah, so you can just start screwing in. So that's what I'm gonna do. Here we go. Yeah, I got this big box from Home Depot, exterior multi-purpose screws, and that's what I'm gonna be using. Yeah, I set the length of the drill to be right there. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this build. I don't know, it's always so nice to work with your hands, and yeah, I don't know, it's a cool thing. It's very, before this we just had kayaks lying all over the place, and this just made it so much more tidy, and a great place for the kids to just play around too. So here I'm cutting the supports that go in between the racks and make the whole thing extra stable. Yeah, I feel like this is necessary. Maybe not 100%, but without them, the whole structure would not be nearly as stable. Punch some holes, okay? Everything that's marked in black, we're gonna punch. And that means that we're gonna drill them out. And the drill press. You know what the drill press is, Kaylee?
Yeah.
Which is the drill press? So the reason I'm not going here is I want to avoid that drilled hole that's center on the other thing. This should be far enough out. Okay. One side. Yeah, drilling all these clearance holes really takes a lot of time. Having a drill press definitely helps a lot. If you didn't care so much about being super true, I guess you could use a hand drill too. Maybe that would have been quicker. I had my assistant Kaylee here, who probably slowed me down considerably too. But she still remembers this to this day, helping me drill. And she's always asking, oh, I want to help you drill again. So I don't know, it was memorable for her. So I think that's cool. Yeah, and then just mounted it on top. And yeah, it's just had to hammer some of them into place, but you can see that's where it goes, right in between the two 2x6s to add that extra cross member support. So then yeah, drilled another clearance hole with the drill, and then put in the screws and just screwed them all into place. I guess took a little commercial break here to give Kaylee a swing. Yeah, so just taking care of the kids and trying to do this. But, you know, it's nice having these outdoor projects. A lot of times the kids are just off on their own. Yeah, they're just having fun, and they're just glad I'm out there, you know. My presence is out there. Enables them to go out. So here's me testing it out. You can see, super strong. Here's the end product. So if you watch part 2 of the video, you'll see this kayak rack with the top portion all drilled out and all that rope lattice work that I did. That was actually tricky, so I try to show that in the next video because yeah, it's kind of hard to do. And then here's us actually using the kayaks. Yeah, so if you live by a lake, you know, I think this kayak rack is awesome. It's really sturdy. It's not going nowhere, and yeah, I think yeah, we have a good time just going out on the lake whenever we want all summer long. So if you want to build that Playfort, you know, you have young kids, definitely watch part 2 of the video. There should be a link in the description below. And what do you think, Kaylee? Yeah. You like it? Thanks for watching, guys. And if you build it, leave me a comment. I'd love to see how it is. Okay, guys. Godspeed. Have a good one.